So building your case, but give us some more, like if we're raising, like what else have you learned?
Yeah, I mean, just there's so many little pieces to it where it's like, you got to get your projections right, and also like your cost of goods sold, and like you really need to know your business like from the ground up, and like every little finite detail, because you're asking people to give you a lot of money, and it's a lot of money, or else you wouldn't be asking. So it's just like, it's just a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. What is the most often asked questions of you by investors?
Is this going to be a fad?
So they're looking at the risk.
Right.
What if,
Right.
And
Yeah.
how do you answer that?
No. I just
And
politely
my
say
facts,
no.
or like how do you
But-
support it?
Well, I mean, I can see their case, right? Where it's like, okay, is it a one-off shoot? Are people going to buy more light-up products? Is it just the cowboy hat? Like, will it work for other style types? But I think it's really a good point when people say that investors usually buy you instead of your product.
Have you found that's true?
I find it true. My initial investor, that's why they invested in me. I mean, they thought it was a great idea, but they also knew that I had kind of proved myself from my first company and that I was serious. And then, over 2.5 years, just building the company and showing like, hey, I'm moving in the right direction. We're building customer base. We're bringing in revenue. And, now we need more money to be able to make the next iteration. I just feel like it's so many steps, and
Yeah.
it's such a long, like, grind to...
So what are some of the things that have helped you through this process?
Conversations
With
mentors, people that have raised capital before.
Yeah.
Also just with investors, kind of just hearing more about like what they look for, what they want to hear. Like, I watch a lot of like business shows. So a lot of learning. I think you kind of like hear things where it's like, okay, that's a turnoff for investors. Like they want it to be proprietary. They want to see that you've applied for a patent. They want to see, that you have a customer base, like all these things.
I think it's like sales, right?
Yeah.
And Ted Murphy said this so beautiful. He said, raising capital is sales. Mm-hmm. And we don't do well at sales unless we know the target market.
Right.
And we know their problem or the opportunity, and then we can communicate. So it's like you've had to immerse yourself in a whole nother industry.
Yeah.
The capital industry.
Right, and last year I talked to you about manufacturing.
Right.
And it's like all these different columns that you have to like, 1, perfect, and 2, be an expert at, and 3, have the confidence to pull off.